Best fighting game, which I got to be honest, I don't think they need the fighting game category.
No, that
anymore.
fighting games is terrible.
Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate won it. That's just a new version of Mortal Kombat 11 from this
Good
year.
game.
I mean, hey, Jump Force was nominated last year, remember? So
Jump Force, baby.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
how good was One Punch Man?
I don't even.
Hero nobody knows.
I don't even play.
I totally
I don't know
forgot
anybody
it
who
came
played
out
One
this
Punch Man.
year.
No,
the
it's
trailer was
bad.
hilarious. Oh, is
It's
it?
actually it's not a great game. Like a lot of people were.
Metacritic.
It's not that great.
If you're like if you're an up and coming indie game
Oh gosh,
studio,
it's a 59 on Metacritic.
I would. If you're an up and coming indie game studio, I would work on a fighting game because there's a pretty good chance you'll get a nomination.
You say that, but I think I've been in the fighting games I've been following. There's been at least like 5 or 6 from indie companies that are really good looking that no one looked at or gave a shit about this year. So
there's the League of Legends fighter that's coming out soon. But I don't know when that's
it's gonna probably
happen.
run unopposed next year. So
it's just it's a shame too.
Another super duper Street Fighter out or something.
That's a shame because I'm really huge into the fighting game community, and like Street Fighter was just such a flop compared to Street Fighter 4. Like I played Street Fighter 4 like competitively. I went to tournaments and everything like that. And Ultra was absolutely amazing, and it allowed you to capture like Tokido and Daigo and follow everybody. But when Street Fighter 5 was so bad. It was so.
The good news is, according to the Capcom leak, Street Fighter 6 should be showing up probably next year. It'll at least show up, and then it might come out in 2022.
I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll see. I'm hoping they'll do all right.
You're so upset by Street Fighter 5. I see though. Street Fighter 5 is actually not very good.
Grand Blue was actually godlike. That's the anime fighter game, but Grand Blue was really good. I think made by Arxis. I think.
Yeah, Arxis.
That was actually a really good game, but I think Mortal Kombat 11 was more appealing to like the casual audience, and so that's probably why I took it.
Best indie game was Hades. There we go.
Thank you.
Best mobile game was Among Us again. Best community support was Fall Guys. Innovation and accessibility was The Last of Us Part 2, which actually makes a lot of sense because if you go in there and look at how many options they have for accessibility, it is quite overwhelming. They did a lot with that.
That made sense.
We give them credit there for sure.
I would also like to point out that Fall Guys, the Twitter account single-handedly won that. The Twitter account was wild.
Yeah. I do like the Twitter.
Best game direction, it was Last of Us Part 2, which there was a good point brought up about game direction and crunch, if that's something that a game should win that has like the kind of a history of crunch that Naughty Dog ended up with some of the reports.
I don't think
it's a good idea, but how do you regulate it? Because people are going to say, oh, this company doesn't have crunch. And the odds are, yes, they do.
They do.
The problem
They
with crunch is we don't hear about it unless an ex-employee or someone who's currently working at the team exposes it. I know people like to cite the comment from Doug Bowser about Animal Crossing being delayed because Nintendo didn't want to do crunch. Nintendo crunches. Don't be fooled by that statement. So, like, if we did regulate it, it'd be great for the industry. But it's kind of one of those political takes where I'm going to say the words that sound good, but how are you going to
really
enforce
think
this?
that Sony didn't crunch on Ghost of Tsushima and that Square didn't crunch on Final 7 Remake?
Right. And some of it is cultural. Some of it, like the Japanese, they have kind of a culture of crunch to a certain degree. It may not be as extreme as what we've seen with CD Projekt Red or even Naughty Dog with The Last of Us Part 2. And maybe games need an idea of before the game starts or at the credit sequence, you put our average employee worked this many hours a week, kind of like we have in the movies, no animals were harmed in the production of this film. And then you can kind of maybe you shame the developers who do use it. And then they'll say, well, we can't crunch because if we're forcefully have to put a citation like this in, we can't hide anymore. And that's where it's a good idea in principle, but without regulation, it's meaningless.
Guys, I'm kind of stupid. What does crunch mean? I'm sorry. What do you guys mean by crunch?
Like,
it's
working. You're forced to work.
Yeah.
You have mandatory overtime.
It's
got it. Yeah. Those got it.
It's
like
like procrastinating.
It's kind of like procrastinating a little bit. Like you save the main kind of chunk of work until like the night before, and then you're up all night.
Gotcha. Okay,
you're working 80-hour weeks.
Yeah, sleeping under the desk kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I would. got laid off this year, and I worked at the Big Four accounting firm, and I was working 80-hour weeks.
Oh my
So you were
gosh.
crunching.
I was crunching, babe. So I know the word better than anybody here. That's okay.
Yeah, and it's not just any industry will have, well, many industries have crunch. I mean, it's not just video games.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yep.
Oh yeah, when I was working in the mortgage industry, like when they'd get close to the end of their quarters, oh my gosh, the underwriters and it was a mess, especially around Thanksgiving time. Oh, I'm so glad I don't work there anymore. Yeah.
What, child labor? Goodness gracious, god dang. What's going on?
Wait, huh? What?
Okay. No,
Okay.
all right.
What? What are you reading?
Are you okay?
Then we have a bunch of esports categories where I don't think I can pronounce half the names here. Yeah, I don't even know if Evan knows most of these people anyway. Even so, best esports game got League of Legends was League of Legends though. So there's that.
Yes, that's clean.